This is the Central Florida Computer Society and Sarasota Technology User Group, WinSIG, or Windows Special Interest Group, for Sunday, August 13th, 2023. I'm Huey Poplock, and welcome to today's meeting. And we've got a nice crowd, and I thank everybody for joining. All the items are posted as usual on huey.net and WinSIG. Let's take a look at that first. And this is the huey.net. If you go to WinSIG, and here are all the items that I have scheduled for today. And these are links. So anything we cover today, you can go back and click on it and see the actual article. And then under it is last month's, and in the next few days after this meeting, and I get the recording, get it edited, it will be just below that before the next one. So you'll see in July, there are all the questions that or articles that we covered, and there is a link to the video. And that will take you to YouTube, and you'll be able to play the video and watch last month's meeting. And then you can go to the archives and look back over several if you want to watch some of the older ones, or you can actually go to the CFCS channel and watch all of them going back as long as I've been posting them on YouTube. All right, so let's take a look at today's. We've got all of these items. Instead of me doing it directly from here, what I'm going to do is I've already got them listed in my extra here, my link, and if I click that, it will open you'll see them open all the URLs up, and there it goes. So I should be able to close this now. There it is. And it's opening them in the order that I have posted them. It takes a few minutes while we're online. It's quicker when I'm not on Zoom. I probably should have done this first. But the first item we're going to cover is all Windows 11 users should install the knowledge base number that's there. And let's take, well, that article still hasn't loaded. Things do slow down when we're running Zoom in the background. So I rebooted this morning to make sure that we wouldn't have interference. We got one up there, a couple of them. Well, let's go see what we got here. There we go. And we're going to go to the Immersive Reader. Oh, it's taking a long time, isn't it?
Browser is very busy.
Well, there we go. All right, and let's make text preferences. Text size, let's make it bigger. That should be big enough. So Microsoft has released a new cumulative update for Windows 11 in the form of this knowledge base. As this release fixes a series of security issues in the operating system, everyone running Windows 11 22H2 should install it as soon as possible. Now I'm running 23H1, but apparently it needs to be installed as well. And it's a mandatory update, so it will be installed automatically. If you didn't do it manually, I did it manually. And it's important enough to justify taking the manual action to ensure you have it immediately. As in the norm, Microsoft does not detail security issues that have been addressed in this update, which takes Windows 11 up to build and a number, and the servicing stack to version and a number. The company says that in addition to the security fixes, that particular update makes brightness settings more accurate. It also fixes problems with widgets, which I don't use, as well as sleep-related audiovisual issues. Microsoft has also published a handy video to accompany the release of this update, which features not only a summary of the changes, but also numerous tips on how to speed up Windows 11. So it might be worthy to take a look at that video. The full list of non-security related changes. New, this update affects the handwriting software. So if you're using that, and you do have to have either a touchpad, or I'm sorry, a touch screen, or you have to have one of the pads that allows you to do writing. The handwriting engine and the handwriting embedded inking control, they now support some other information. Because of this, they meet the level 3 requirements. And this update addresses an issue with the Windows notification platform. This issue affects how much power your device uses. So if you're using a notebook, that's something that's going to help. This update affects the Windows push notification services. It makes the connection between the client and the WNS service more reliable. I have no idea what that means. And this update addresses an issue that affects hybrid joined devices. You cannot sign into them if they're not connected to the internet. This occurs when you use,
WNS, Windows Network Services.
Yeah, but the whole thing about the push notification services and so on, I'm not familiar what all that is.
Business.
Yep. This update affects Windows Autopilot profiles, and it addresses issues that affects event forwarding subscriptions. So a lot of this is business related, and it doesn't affect most of us. But it's good to kind of look through these things and see if there's anything there that that might affect you or might be a change for you. So that's that article. Let me go ahead and close it and go to the next article. And it wants me to shut off my ads. So I got to do that. And then refresh the page. I'm only going to do it for the page. I don't do it for the whole website. And tell it to refresh. And that goes away. And now we'll do there it is, the Immersive Reader. 10 hidden Windows 10 features you should be using. So those of you who are still on Windows 10, this is for you. If you even if you've been using Windows 10 for a while, there are likely more than a few non-obvious features that you've never tried before. And in this article, they've picked 10 of them. And so these are things that you may or may not want to look into. One is an emoji picker menu. And if you're a big fan of emojis, I'm not. I don't use them. But there's an easy way to insert an emoji in any document. To do so, press the Windows plus the period on your keyboard. In a small menu that pops up, you can scroll to the complete list of available emojis in Windows 10. When you find the one you want, click it, and Windows will insert it into whatever text field you're working on. Virtual desktops. This is what you were talking about, Murray, and this is Windows 10. If your Windows workspace feels crowded, virtual desktops can help you manage your open windows and keep your desktop organized by task or topic. To add a new virtual desktop, you click the task view icon on your taskbar or press the Windows plus the tab key. In task view, click New Desktop button at the top of the screen. If you don't see the virtual desktops in task view, make sure that they are enabled in the settings. In settings, system multitasking. Now you have another desktop to work on, and you can switch between desktops at any time in the task view by clicking each desktop's thumbnail. And Murray, you might want to click on that link when you go to the site or to this article on how to quickly switch between virtual desktops on Windows 10. I think you said, though, you were on Windows 11. If so, you might want to, that might give you at least something to do a search on. But just do it for Windows 11. Then instant timestamp in Notepad. This has been a part of Notepad for a long time. But if you like taking notes in Windows 10 built-in text editor Notepad, which I use a lot, you'll enjoy this quick tip. To get the date and timestamp in Notepad, press F5 on your keyboard at any time. Or you can select Edit Time Date in the menu bar. As of that exact moment, the current time and date will appear instantly in at the position of your cursor. It's very handy. And what that means is I'm going to go open up Notepad. And there's nothing there because I haven't typed anything. But if I was typing something, and if I wanted to, if I hit F5, if I can find it up here, it automatically puts the date, the time and the date in there. And so as I'm doing some things, and then if I want to do it again, I hit F5 again, and you can see that it's still the same minute. It doesn't do the seconds, but so if we wait a minute or so, or into the next minute and then do it again. Now, of course, we did it at the beginning of the minute. And I can see by my clock that it's still got about 10 seconds. I won't waste your time, but you can see what it does. I use Notepad a lot for just jotting things down, copying and pasting without any formatting. And then I'll put it into Word and do the formatting within Word instead of taking the formatting from where I copied and pasted, where I copied it from. Snip and Sketch. Here's an answer to your question. This built-in app can take screenshots in any area of your screen. It can also create screenshot of a full web page with the press of a button. To launch Snip and Sketch, Windows Shift S. Is that the same one as what you clicked on, Jolin? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's the same for the new one as it was for the old one. So I'm not sure how you get to the old one, or you can start the menu and Snip and Sketch and then enter its icon. So we'll have to find a way in which we can do the Snip and Sketch in Windows 11. I'll try to get to that sometime this meeting. And then there's the Windows Time Machine backup in Windows, built into Windows 10. It's called File History. It makes a backup of your files every hour by default, but you can change the frequency as little as every 10 minutes. It's similar to Time Machine on a Mac. To turn on File History, press Windows I to open the settings, then navigate to Update, Security, and Backup. Under the Backup Using File History, click Add a Device button and select a drive, usually an external drive, where you want the Windows to save backups. You can configure file history settings if you click More Options in Updates and Security, and then Backup. Screen record with Xbox Game Bar. Probably you don't use the Xbox Game Bar, so I'm not going to talk about that. The Power User System is something else here. Focus Assist and Clipboard History. I use a Clipboard program, and I've been playing with a new one. But if you don't want to use any, you want to use the one that's built in. The latest Clipboard in Windows does save your history, and you can go back somewhat, something that you've clipped a little bit earlier. It'll give you a list of them. And then the night light at night, if you are working at night, you might want to reduce your eye strain by making your screen appear warmer. And it's also a temporary help boost for your melatonin levels so you don't disrupt sleep. And to activate it, you go into the Action Center and click Night Light button. And how do you get to the Action Center? Just come down. I hope you can see the bottom of my screen. But if I click down here at the bottom, let's see. Now I got to come over here. Oh, come on. I'm hitting settings now. Let me close this out. Come on. There's notifications. For whatever reason, it's not coming up. Anyway, it should be over in this area, and you should be able to get into the Action Center. Is it here? No. Anyway, I may not have it enabled in such a way I can get to it quickly. So, but you can then enable the night light and change it. Now, if I try to demonstrate this to you, it only affects my monitor, not what you would see. So you would never see it by me sharing my screen to do that. Okay, let's stop the share here for a minute, see if there's any comments or questions. Now, we just talked about Windows 10, and of course, we got into a discussion on Windows 11 today, where usually it's the Windows 10 that people are asking questions about. So anyone have any comments or questions on what we just talked about or what I just talked about? Well, it's either good or bad, but let's continue then. Let's go back and share my screen. And we'll close this one up. The next one is from PC Magazine. And we'll do the Immersive Reader. Microsoft Windows 11 review. PC Magazine did a review on Windows 11. So they may give you some hints and some items. And this will be good for, who was it? Marilyn was asking questions about Windows 11. So this tells you some of the differences and some of the things that have changed. And so what are the requirements? We won't go into any of that right now. That would be only for somebody who wants to update. And then a new look and more for Windows. And so it talks about the start menu and taskbar. What's different, and the start button now is towards the center instead of way over on the left, which still drives me nuts because I'm going to have it going to the left. But
that depends on how many icons you have in your taskbar. If your icon is like, or your taskbar looks like mine, the start menu is all the way on the left.
Yeah,
because there's no room to add anything else.
Yep, and you can choose. There's a choice in setup to move it over to the left as well. Okay, and then File Explorer's got some changes. It's a good example of Windows 11's new look, particularly in its updated left panel controls. And what that means is when you look at File Explorer, you'll see more things here on the left. The icons are different. I clicked it twice. Okay. And there's a menu key that shows them. You can now use single key presses for the File Explorer context menu options. If you still want more functionality out of your file manager, you always have the option of using one of the File Explorer alternatives. And because 22H2 Update added tabs, you don't need to use an alternative if that's what you're after. So you now can have tabs in your File Explorer. In your search box in Windows 11, next to the Start button is the search box. The search function started life in Windows as a mere button, but it's once again a real space that you can type in. You can choose whether you want a button, a box, or no search in the settings. Once you do, if you just click the search box, a panel appears showing the results from your documents, photos, folders, settings, or on the web. Note that the panel now includes a Bing AI chat button at the top left and right. And the left one opens Edge to the AI chat with your query entered, and the right one opens a blank Bing AI chat page. So if we click here, you'll get something like this. And if you type something in there and you say, let's see, what's it? Skip. I'll just type in snip. It's showing me the snipping tool here. I can just click it. And it opens up the snipping tool right from there. So if you're looking, you don't have to go to the menu and look for what you're trying to find in the all apps. You can just type it in the search and it should bring it up. If you just click in the box, you'll see a daily spotlight on the left with a list of icons of recently used apps along the left. This layout may be more useful if than the start menu if you just look to jump back into an app. And then widgets, I shut off my widgets, and so I can't show it to you, but it's a widget panel, and you'll get your weather. I think it's on by default, and I turned mine off. And notifications and quick settings. That's usually on the right, and then your snap layouts and multitasking. Your snap layouts appear as options in the taskbar. So you can either open a group of apps or a single app. Let's see what snap layouts tells us here. Keep it tidy. How do you use snap layouts? And that's using the things up here in the top right. So what you can do is up here, you've got many choices. So if you want to, let's say you want 3 pieces, you want the one that we're looking at in the left one, you just click there and it's going to put it in the left, and it allows you then to open something in the center and then put something else over here on the right. And it does it all automatically for you. And then you can just click one of them and it'll open that. And if I minimize that, and if I just drag this, it brings it back to what it should be. And same with this. Now drag it and bring it back. So it's just a very handy dandy way of splitting up your screen very quickly and having multiple windows open on your desktop to do various tasks. And let's see, we were in Immersive Reader.
Stephanie has her hand up.
Okay, yeah, I can't see that, but thank you. Let me go ahead and finish this one out, and then we'll open it and we'll see. Let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, and then the Power Toys, I've talked about them several times. If you want some neat features that aren't officially part of Windows, the Microsoft Power Toys are very good. And so let me go ahead and stop the share. And Stephanie.
I have all my data under the D drive, and there are tons of things between desktop and documents that going down a bunch of things and stuff that get in my way. I'd like to be able to get to the D drive quickly so that I can get into my data. There's some way of getting rid of all those intermediate things or putting them below your C and D drives.
Are you talking about in File Explorer?
Yes.
Well, let's open up File. Let's see. I'm opening it, but you can't see it because I'm not sharing my screen. Let's go ahead and do that. Share. And let me full screen this. And what you're saying, well, let me just click. So there's something more than just these. Let's go to my documents folder. And you're saying over here, there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but if you go all the way to the top, you got the desktop, and what you've got here are little pins. So you can take any one that you want. So let's see, let's take CFCS here, and that's a folder. And let's say there's a folder here. If I right mouse click and I go to pin to start, if I come back up here now, that should be up here. I forgot what I clicked on. CFCS main.
I think that's it.
No,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, for some reason or other, I didn't get it in there. But you can, and I may not have clicked on the right thing. So maybe, let's see, let's take this
Well, I
one
was trying to
here.
get the whole D drive up there, or the D client's drive or something like that.
Well, I can't duplicate that, but probably
Huey?
yes, if you probably
Yeah.
go to the drive and do what I just did and pin that, it should go to the top.
Yeah, it should be. Pinning is one way to do it. And
Okay.
I think what she wants to do, for example, on your screen there, you could, if you clicked on the desktop, it would close that one. And then you could close each of these except for in her screen,
that's one way to do it.
and then leave only the D drive open and then click on that one, show the subdirectories in that.
Yeah.
But
The other thing you can
close
do
all
is
of these things like that. You can close the desktop.
Yeah. And
the
then
other thing
let's,
you can do is add it to the start menu down at the bottom where the in 11, down at the bottom of the start menu where the little power button is, you can add file folders just like you could in Windows 10 down the left-hand side when you clicked on start. Yes, Huey, you've got them down there. You've got power, you've got, it looks like Meet, downloads. So she should be able to add that there, or create a shortcut on her desktop or on her taskbar.
yeah.
Well, see, you have Huey personal, and you've got a bunch of sub things in it. I have all of that sort of between me and the D drive.
Right,
Yeah,
but
you just close it.
It seems to me the D drive is, kind of important. It should be up here.
Well,
where
do
G is.
you see
they
these
do
little
it
arrows?
alphabetically.
Yeah, you just close all those things.
Yeah, see that arrow? It just closed
Yeah,
a
well, I
bunch.
do
Do another
close
one
them, but
there.
I figured there might be a way of getting
Create it.
that all the time.
Huey, the easiest solution is to put an alias for the D drive on your desktop, and then she'll see a picture of the D drive and can click on it whenever she wants.
A shortcut.
Yes.
Yes.
Or
And
pin
that's
it
easy to do.
or to the taskbar.
In other words, what you're saying is just go here, tell it to new, and then shortcut.
Shortcut. Come on. There we go. Browse.
And I do have a little SD card as a
There
D
we go.
drive.
Yep. Okay. In there somewhere, huh? You're like
Yeah.
me. Way too much stuff.
Well, let's just take this STUG discussion.
There we go.
Yeah, it's just happens to be a folder.
Oh,
I say okay. And then I say next. Call it STUG
You can name
discussion.
it.
Yeah, and we'll just say
There you
test for WinSIG and finish.
And there it is.
And it's right here.
That's it's a shortcut. And when you open
Yeah.
that, it'll. Yeah, that's probably the easiest way. Now I would actually pin it to the taskbar because I don't show icons on my desktop. I just have a clean desktop.
Yeah.
But it's the same principle, the same thinking behind it.
And you can do that process by just going into Explorer and right-clicking on the D drive. And it gives you an option to create a shortcut.
So anything that's here,
Yeah, you've got your D drive on the left. If you were to just right-click on that,
You can pin it to start. You can include it in the library, which will bring it to the top.
and pin it to
Show
quick
more
access.
options.
Yeah.
go down to the bottom.
Can I delete some of the things that are in between? I mean, I don't have
No.
pictures, music and stuff
No,
like
no,
that.
no. Don't delete stuff.
Yeah, because that'll delete the folders and you don't want to do that.
No. Those are all things that Windows puts in there purposefully.
I know.
If
I'm
you
not
have that
using
little
them.
arrow, just click on that arrow and that collapses it. and just
Yeah,
shows
well, I
the
do
main
that,
one.
but it seems like it takes extra
But
time
if you
every time
delete
I
it,
want to do
those
this.
won't be there. You're going to have a problem with running your whole operating
Absolutely.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't start deleting stuff. No.
Well, some
Ron
of them are
patiently has
under
had
my
his
name.
window.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Best thing to do would be to put a shortcut to the desktop or to your taskbar or to start, and it really makes a difference, because if you start messing like you said, you start messing with that kind of stuff, you can seriously disable parts of Windows, and then you're out of luck.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Ron, you have your hand up.
So, Huey, I think that you had it right at the very beginning, except you didn't pin it to quick access, and you need to pin
Yeah.
it to quick. You pinned it to the wrong thing. If
Yep.
you'd pinned it to quick access, it would pop up to the top. I make folders every day, as I do for Tech for Senior for the week that we're working, and because I need to access that file all the time. So pinning to me works perfectly. I do it all the time. And then the only thing you have to remember about pinning is you only get about 10, and then it sort of puts them all behind. So you have to unpin things after if you don't want them. I don't like the shortcut idea because it messes up my desktop. The pinning works great, and
But you can put it on the taskbar.
What you could do it too, and then you fill up
or
your
in the start
taskbar.
menu.
But the pinning, I find the pinning, I think your idea, Huey, at the beginning, pinning is just perfect, and you just have to pin it to the quick
Yeah.
access.
But wait a minute, where is the library? Because if you've got, well, your library is showing there, but
Yeah, it's right. The pins are all here at the top.
The
Right.
pins go to the top.
Right. So if I take
in 11, they swapped things around, though. In my 11, the very first thing that's up at the top is my OneDrive. So you'd actually have,
I've got it
that
way
stuff
down
around.
here. I don't have it pinned, but if I take my, let's see if I can find my D drive. It's like I got a lot of stuff here. I don't even see my D
Go to
drive.
this PC. Go down a little bit. Go down and go to this PC. Nope, further down. Where'd you go? I saw it a minute ago. There it is.
There we go. Here, if I right mouse click this and pin to quick access.
That's what you want.
Now when I do it, if we come back up here, it's right here.
Right there.
And it's right at the top.
Okay.
That's all you got to
That's the way to
do.
do it.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's the way to do it. Awesome.
It's still down at the bottom. And at any time, if you want to unpin this, you just
that's
right
just a
mouse
short-
click
That also is just
And-
a shortcut when you pin it.
and you can unpin right here. Okay, good.
What I do very often, if I'm working on specific folders, I will pin those folders while I'm working on them, so they're right there at the top. And then when I'm complete, the job is complete, or the process is complete, I can unpin them again. So it works really nicely.
And if you want it to really float to the top, sometimes if it's a folder, I'll put an exclamation point at the beginning of it, which almost doesn't show. And
you can make a movie that includes.
I've got somebody's.
There are some distinctions
sorry.
depending on which phone you.
My apologies.
Okay. If you want to, I'll show you again here. It's easier to show than it is to talk about, especially when the words don't come to me all the time. And let's go to my documents folder. Since I go to this folder the most, and that's presentations, you'll notice I've got a little exclamation point before the word that gets alphabetized before any A's or numbers. And so that forces those two to the top. Now, I wouldn't do it with a drive letter, but you can do it with folders and make it go to the top when you're alphabetizing anything. You just put an exclamation point. You can put another symbol there because it sorts symbols, then numbers, then letters from A to Z, or it reverses it. Okay, so that's that article. And we got another one, disable my blocker or continue without disabling. We'll do that. And then we will do the upgrading to Windows 11 23H2. That's coming. It's not out yet. And there's no date officially when it will be here, but it's usually September, October-ish when they do it. Now, this is going to be the last year that they're going to actually have the 23H1 and then the 23H2. They're going to have just once a year, and then they're going to have updates during the year. That's at least now what the plans have been posted and talked about. But again, they change their mind a lot, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen. And that's why I don't like to go too far in advance of what they're going to be doing, because they change their minds quickly at Microsoft. Anyway, upgrading to Windows 11 23H2, it should only take a few minutes. It's not going to be a huge update. They've only received the Moment 3, let's see, the moment, they call it Moment 3 update for Windows 11, but version 23H2, the big annual update, is only a couple of months away. And as it turns out, while the update is expected to bring some big new features, it will be a pretty small download for users running Windows 11 22H2. As Microsoft has announced, it will be an enablement package. When the time comes, your PC will simply download a configuration file that enables all of the new features that are included in the Windows version 23H2. So if you're wondering how this is possible, it's actually nothing too new. Microsoft has been using enablement packaging for a while, specifically with Windows 10, since its version of 20H2. The way that works is that Microsoft is able to deliver a large set of new features through normal cumulative updates, which roll out every month with security patches and other fixes. A lot of the features that are planned for Windows 11 version 23H2 are already in the same code base as 22H2, but they're disabled until they're fully finished. As such, when the time comes for the big update like Windows 11 23H2, all Microsoft needs to do is send over a file that enables all of those hidden features, like Windows Copilot. And there's two big benefits to this approach. One is that the update, as Microsoft notes, a very small download and install it when it officially launches, so users no longer have to worry about waiting over an hour to install a feature update, as used to be the case a few years back. The other is that it means both Windows 11, 22H2 and 23H2 have the same code base, and as such are exactly the same in terms of compatibility with apps and devices. If you want the latest updates, but you're worried about breaking something, these enablement packages are great news, since everything will work just as well as it used to. This is likely also why Microsoft recently announced that customers waiting for the LTSC version of Windows 11 can begin testing compatibility based on Windows 11 version 22H2. Nothing will change with the next update on this front. What it boils down to is it's going to be a lot easier and less likely for things to break when you do updates. It's just going to turn on things that are already there. I think that's a good approach. This article, and I'm not sure whether I can, I guess I can do the immersive reader on it. It's more on how to synchronize desktop and mobile. And it's somebody's notes, but you might want to take a look at it. They're using something called Joplin, and let's see, they're using, I do this using OneDrive. I set it up by going to Tools, Options, and Synchronization. And so there's ways to synchronize between your mobile and your desktop. I don't do a lot of that. I do it with my browsers. So if I make a change in a browser on my Chromebook, it will make the change on the Chrome on my desktop. So the synchronization really is nice to have. So when I open up my browser on my Chromebook, it's got all the same buttons and bookmarks already in it. If I add one in my Chromebook, it will add it to my Windows version. If I change it to in my Windows, it will show up on my Chromebook. And the next one, yes, let's go ahead and take a look at the Immersive Reader on this. Windows 11 adds a warning when you copy and paste your password. So if you have your password somewhere and you copy and paste it into where you have to add your password, Microsoft is trying to protect customers from malware and phishing attacks with a warning in Windows 11 when copying and pasting your password. Microsoft revealed this new feature in a blog post. So it's starting in Windows 11, version 22H2. Enhanced phishing protection in Microsoft Defender's Smart Screen helps protect Microsoft school or work passwords against phishing and unsafe usage on sites and apps. We're trying out a change starting with this build where users who have enabled warning options for Windows security under apps and browser control, and then reputation-based protection, phishing protection, you will see a UI warning on unsafe password copy and paste, just as they are currently. So see when they type in their password. So if you type it in, it may give you a warning, but it hadn't done that if you copy and paste it. Now it will. I'm drinking cold water, and I wish it was vodka. It helped my voice a little bit. Password reuse is a security risk. If your password is stolen from this site, attackers will try to use it on other sites too. So those of you who use the same password on multiple accounts, not a good idea. Using strong, unique passwords to keep your personal information safe. And that's the end of that article. So, so what you want to do is, if all else fails, if you don't want to do a software password manager, what you might want to do, and I'm going to stop the share here anyway for a moment. What you might want to do is get something like this, a little notepad and a little notebook, and then these aren't passwords, I don't think. No, they aren't. But what you want to do is just keep them in a notebook rather than on separate little pieces of paper or corners and napkins. When I go to a lot of my neighbors, I'll go and they bring out their wallet, and they got all kinds of pieces of paper with passwords and crossed out where they changed them and updated them. And if you have a notebook, you mark it down, and when you cross one off, you say changed and put today's date. Harmon, you have your hand up. You're muted.
Harmon, you're muted. We can't hear you.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the Explorer should have a section that says PC on it. If you click on that, the drives that are assigned to your computer should pop up, including the D drive. Clicking on the image, that should solve the D drive problem. Now, I use something on a regular basis called One Commander, which in my opinion is a 5-star dual panel file manager that you can get from the Microsoft Store, and it is absolutely the best there is.
Yeah, and it comes from, or it's similar to the Windows Commander, which was like the old Norton Commander many years ago. And yeah, I used that. I know Stan Wallner used to use the either Windows Commander or the one you're using, One Commander, and just swore by it. I'm not sure if he still uses it. Stan, if you're listening, go ahead and unmute and tell us. But yeah, there are some utilities, but a lot of us, you know, if it's built in, A lot of times you can use your what's already in Windows and not have to worry about a third party.
Total Commander is what I use, and I still
Total.
do. Yep.
And you're still using it, and it's great, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And it works the same as the one that you're talking about, Harmon. You probably, if you put them side by side, you almost couldn't tell the difference.
Well, there are many things in Linux that work similar, Midnight Commander and stuff like that. But still, there's one commander. There's no equal, in my opinion. I've been using it for quite some time now. Works fine in Windows 10 and 11. And I do a lot of file transferring all day long. Setting up folders and stuff like that is a regular thing for me. Downloading and installing things in certain folders. I do it all day long, and I've never had a problem with it.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and share my screen again, because I want to show something that I do that does something similar to what you're talking about, but I'm doing it from within Windows itself. When you open up Windows Explorer, and it looks like this, and let's just go into one of my folders here. If I want to copy something from a particular folder into a different folder or different drive, you just copy, hold your key down and move it, and move it across. But what I like to do instead of that is I will open up a second instance, and I do that by right mouse clicking this and go to File Explorer. And now I've got that File Explorer, and the other one is here. So now I've got two File Explorers. So if I want to take something from one document, and let's just open up this, just because it's a folder, and we'll open up, just looking for something here, CFCS, WinSIG, and find a file. Okay, I can take this, and if I left mouse key this file and bring it over, you can see that it says move to, and then the folder that I'm pointing to. I'm going to hit escape with it still now, and that makes it go away. So if you're doing it and you say, oh, I don't want to do that, hit your escape button and it will clear it up. But what I do, instead of left mouse button, I right mouse button and I drag it over. And then when I let go of it, it gives me a menu. And you'll notice one is highlighted. That's the default. If I just dragged it over, it's going to move it. So it's going to take it out of here and put it here. Well, I might want to copy it. If I do, I can click copy. And I know it's where I want it to go. And so I have more control of it this way. And then I'll just say copy it. And now it's there and here. It's in both places. And I can see that, and it makes it a lot easier, because when you're trying to slide it over and get it to the right place here, sometimes your fingers either slip or you don't get it in the right place. When you let go of it, gee, did it drop where I wanted it to? And then if it didn't, you got to go find it. And so I have found that this makes it very easy for me. And then if I want to delete that, I can just right mouse click and tell it delete. And by the way, in Windows 11, there's not a delete along the list, and I keep looking for it there, and I have to always remember there's an icon now at the top, and you click it and it goes away.
Huey, I have used the dual pane for File Explorer for years, and it works so well for me. Yeah. Sometimes I'll be working on three different images, three different windows open at the same time, and it really works that way. The other options, to add something else like the window, the file commander or one commander, that kind of thing. That's a marvelous thing to do, but I've just always felt it was important. File Explorer, for all its faults, it's there and it works the way I need it to. So
yeah, and so this way
Lots of this too has to do with what you get used to using. The
Exactly.
more you use it, the more used to it you get, and the more you think it's the greatest tool. And that goes for browsers, that goes for File Explorer and its lookalikes, but familiarity.
It's what works for each of us. We all work
Yeah.
differently. We all
Correct.
learn differently.
Yep. But I do like in the user group meetings that I'm in, somebody always does it a little bit different than I do. And sometimes their ideas might just be teeny-weensy better than what I've been doing. And so
It's like
we all think the way we do it is the best way. So what I'm
Instead of-
trying to,
Instead of opening two copies of File Explorer, you can just simply use one File Explorer copy, go to the file you want, do a right click on it and say copy, then open up the other folder and paste.
it.
We
Yeah.
have
Well,
one
but that's
open.
more clicks than just right click or just drag and, I mean, again, it's
Well,
what we're used to. It's how we work.
You'd have to use two File Explorers. And if you got 50
Yeah.
things open, all of these things use resources. So it depends on what kind of a computer you're working on.
Well, my new one has 2 terabytes and 32 gig of RAM. So I think
quit-
I should be okay with that one.
Quit bragging now.
I had to.
I know. Okay. We still have some time here. Let's go. Microsoft releases its own system tuning app. I haven't tried this yet. I don't know if any of you have seen this, but let's go ahead and see what it is. It's for both Windows 10 and 11, and it's a PC manager, boost your PC's performance, and apparently there's a health check and some other things that you can do. So fans of pure PC power have always wanted to closely monitor all aspects of their system to ensure maximum performance. So in PC Manager now, you can do some things. If you're not comfortable doing something like this, I wouldn't do it. When you start getting into some of these power things, I don't recommend it to everybody. And sometimes I don't like even showing it at the WinSIG because some people who shouldn't be getting into some of these things try it and sometimes can get themselves in trouble. So, but if you're more of a power user, this is something you probably ought to know about. And take a look at the article, and it'll give you some information and what things to clean
Can you
up.
imagine? Hello?
Hello?
Wait a minute. Yeah.
I hear you, Norman.
Yeah, and you explore.
You're muted, Harmon. Okay. Marilyn, you got your hand up.
Yeah, on the previous slide, you guys were talking about something I don't know anything about. Windows Commander. What is that?
It's a third-party program. You don't need to know it.
Okay,
Forget it.
good enough.
Yeah, I didn't see.
Yeah.
I saw File Commander. I didn't see the name Windows Commander out there. So
That's the one Stan uses.
Okay, I
another
just
third-
don't know
no,
anything
it's
about
Total
those.
Commander. It's Total Commander or One Commander. Those were the two.
Yeah, and then Stan uses another one called Windows Commander. So there's actually a third one. Okay, Tim, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, offhand, I have this, and I've been playing with it. The article is showing an early version of version 1. There is a version 3 that'll add a floating little toolbar that only shows a tab on your right side, left side, or top side of your screen. You tap that with your mouse pointer and get your options. But this is just a tool that consolidates in one place all the tools that already exist in your Windows 10 or 11 system, making it a one-stop shop. And it does so far a good job, but there are third-party tools that will do an even better job for certain functions. But this is, in my opinion, something that should have gone back to Windows 3 days. and then constantly improve.
Okay, Bill, you're next. Your hand is up.
I use CC Cleaner. I wonder if this would conflict with it, or can it run side by
It
side?
duplicates some of the functions.
That's
It's
what I
not as
thought.
complete as CCleaner, but it does have quite a few of the same cleanup tools in it that CCleaner does. And something that you could already have done in Windows before this tool came out. As Timothy said, this is a consolidation of many tools already part of Windows.
Yeah, as far as that goes, you could run this tool, do a lot of cleanup, run CCleaner, and find even more. And that's the key to a lot of programs. There is no one that does the whole thing. You've got to use usually several tools of the same type, like cleanup tools, like CCleaner. There's Glare Utilities. There's Slim Cleaner, and many other ones like Privazer. They all do some form of cleanup. They all find additional stuff because the person who created the tool has a perspective on what is junk. And the next person creates a new tool. They have a different perspective, and therefore they see some things the other person didn't, and so forth.
Thank you. Murray, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, like all these tools that are similar, it's very much like the best camera is the one that you have with you. And it's the same with all these multiple tools. The best one is the one that you have on your computer or the one that you're used to.
Absolutely. And the one you're used to is the key. Okay, let's go to the next article. This is from About Chromebooks. But let's go ahead and look at this. What I want to show you, and I haven't tried this yet. First, look at the new Microsoft 365 Chromebook integration. So if you've got if you're using the Microsoft products, but you also have a Chromebook, there apparently is full Microsoft Office 365 integration with Chromebooks. And this article kind of tells you what you need to do to make that happen. I've got to play with this yet. I haven't tried it to see whether it explains it properly and whether it actually works properly. So I just wanted to add that in here. So if you're playing with both, you can. And here's another one. There we go. Careful what you share on social media. Yeah, and I went looking for somebody's post, one of my friends' posts on Facebook, and apparently somebody wised them up and it's not there now, but they had a picture of their daughter getting her first driver's license. And there she stands in front of the camera holding her driver's license, and you can read everything on it. Very bad thing to do. It put all her information from her driver's license out there for anybody to get that information and write it down and know everything about her that they need to steal her identity. So it's something, if you're in front of your house, don't show the number on the house. You can have the picture of your house or you in front of the house, but it doesn't have to show the number. And if you're on a vacation, don't post pictures while you're on vacation. Wait till you come back, so people don't know your house is empty until you're back. And that's what this article pretty much says, is why you should be careful with what you share on social media. Gathering intelligence is the first stop to hacking. First thing hackers do before attacking a system is gather information. And it's skipping down the second paragraph. For example, imagine a person whose Instagram username is victim user, has a company email with the extension example.com. And then they bought a plane ticket to go on a business trip abroad. turns out the victim user is very excited about this and decides to upload a photo to share the excitement with followers and friends on Instagram. In this photo, victim user uploaded a certain part of the plane ticket that can be seen. This is very useful information to a hacker. Although the entire flight ticket is not visible in the photo shared by victim user, since each company's ticket is different, the hacker can understand which company this ticket belongs to. Then the hacker will read the description under the photo. If the victim user shared the flight date and time, the hacker's job will be easier. But even if this information isn't publicly available, the hacker can pretend to be a customer, enter the official website of the aircraft company, and examine the flight plans. This means the hackers can predict the day and time of the flight belonging to the victim user. At this point, the hacker starts to think about attack vectors, while victim user continues to think he's making an innocent post. So be careful what you post and how you post it. It's just so many ways that you wouldn't think that somebody is going to try to steal that information and get information from you, that they can do it. And it's just another way in which the hacker doesn't have to hack anything. You're giving them the information. And how things look from the victim's perspective. An urgent email comes to a victim user, and this email is so convincing that victim user falls into a trap. After all, this email contains the flight ticket, flight information, and important flight policies. Also, the email address looks like the email address of the flight company. Everything else seems legit. Moreover, since victim user will be making this flight for a business trip, they will take this email seriously. The bottom of the email, there's a link, such as documents you need to fill out to complete your flight procedures. As soon as the victim user clicks on this link, the hacker gets what they're after. So, don't give away little bits of information that can be used to gather more information from you. Well, I think I closed the wrong thing here. Let's come here. Okay, what's this one asking me to do? Third-party cookies. Okay. This article is Microsoft installs Google Docs offline extension in Edge automatically. I haven't played with this. Let me get the Immersive Reader up. I do like the graphic. Microsoft Edge users who have updated their web browser to one of the latest versions recently may want to check installed extensions. Microsoft is installing the Google Docs offline extension, Microsoft Edge automatically. The rollout started with release of Microsoft Edge 1.14 on June 22nd. The extension will be installed automatically in all Edge installations, but it won't be enabled by default, according to Microsoft. Okay, let me look at my extensions. Now, this one is called Google Docs Offline. So let's see if I have it in my extensions, which are up here. These are all my extensions. I don't see it. Let's see. Extensions. I don't see that it was installed, so I may not have gotten it yet. And then to check what your version of Edge is, you do the same thing that you do with Google Chrome. Go to Help and Feedback, and then go to About Microsoft Edge. And I hope it doesn't try to update. It's checking for, we're version 1.15 and we're up to date. So that's how you can find what version you're running. And if it needs to be updated, it will tell you and it will start the update at that point. Let's see, how are we doing in time? We're getting there. Let's see, go to the next item. That's it. And then Oh, this was another one that I gotta turn off my ad blocker. This is a question a lot of people have asked me over the years, and we'll do the immersive reader. Can my cloud provider peek at my files? So whoever is hosting the cloud that you're using, can they see what's there? And the key takeaways from this article are cloud storage may not be as private as you think, as many cloud providers have the technical capability to access your unencrypted files. Encryption is critical in securing your files in the cloud with at rest and in transit encryption methods providing protection against third-party access. Unless you're using a zero-knowledge encryption provider, cloud providers could potentially peruse your files, so consider using a privacy-centric provider or encrypting your files before uploading. Now, if you don't know and don't understand what we're talking about when we're talking about encryption, then you want to make sure that wherever you're using cloud storage, you want to make sure that it's encrypted. And this article says we've almost all embraced cloud services. We talked to somebody earlier today that doesn't like cloud services. Yet, have you ever wondered, can my cloud provider see my files? And this just isn't techno paranoia, it's a genuine concern. So let's look at how cloud storage may not be as private as you think. And then this article goes on to explain how cloud storage works, the lowdown on data privacy in the cloud, and then encryption 101 and how encryption works, securing your files in the cloud, and then can your cloud provider really access your files? So it's a good article to have in your arsenal. Has it actually happened? And this says, we've established that cloud providers could look at the contents of your data in a way that breaches your privacy in theory, but has it actually happened? Well, for obvious reasons, it can be difficult to actually prove that this is happening within the walls of cloud providers. But there have been worrying cases where customer cloud data has made it into the hands of regular employees. According to one report, staff at Ring watched and shared videos recorded by customer devices. In 2019, it was reported that Desjardins Group had suffered a massive data breach caused by an employee who exposed the private information about 2.9 million people. And in 2018, Facebook, which is now Meta, fired an employee for allegedly abusing their data access privileges to stalk female users. So these are just a handful of examples and come from incidents that we know about without any true indication of how often the custodians of our cloud data are tempted to take a peek. So if you want to protect yourself, look for those cloud providers and storage providers that provide zero knowledge encryption. If you've got the technical chops, you could also host your own cloud server with Nextcloud, where absolutely no one but you have access to it. And ultimately, something is so sensitive that you would be devastated, be it socially, emotionally, or financially, if it was leaked, then consider encrypting it using your own methods before uploading it or not uploading it at all and relying on local encryption backups. So it's a good article to have an understanding of what they're talking about. And we're close to the time, so I'm going to stop the share at this point and see if there's any comments, questions. Drew, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I with regard to the cloud, I just signed up recently for pCloud, and they have a very extensive and granular terms of service agreement that you have to agree to. And when I relocated gigabytes of data from my Google Drive over to pCloud, they combed through all of my files, and they notified me that some of the files that I put on their server were in violation of their terms and they deleted them. But they were not in violation of Google's terms of services, or however Google looks at whatever their files are. So you do need to be careful when you sign up for a cloud provider. pCloud in particular looks, opens, and reads every file you put on their server. They sell encryption services as a third-party option, but now I use a client-based. I use a client-based crypto program called Cryptomator, and I pre-encrypt all of the data that goes up on their server now, so that they don't get to read it.
So they can't read it.
So they cannot read it now.
And only you can read it. When you download it back, you're going to still be able to read it.
Yes.
That's interesting. So it's again, going back to, and I can't remember who it was earlier that was concerned about saving things in the cloud. He has good reason to be concerned about it. Number one. And number two, there are ways to protect yourself if you still want to do that, or host your own cloud, which means buying equipment and so on. But there are ways to do it. Any other comments, questions?
Cloud simply means somebody else's hard drive. That's
Yep.
all, in plain, simple language. That's all it is.
We're going
Wanna
back
host
to
your own, buy a bigger hard drive, external hard drive, and put it on your own. Then you have your own backup.
Yeah.
The reason you use cloud-based is because it's off-site storage. If something happens to you at home, even if the house burns down, it's still off-site. You can still get it back. If you do it at home, well, when the fire hits, it'll also take care of that backup. So,
or a tornado or any other thing like that, or a break-in where they steal the equipment. Absolutely. And it goes back to the days when, the IBM, you were working in a company that had an IBM mainframe, or they may not have. And you might have had terminals on your desk, and then the company paid for time on a computer somewhere else, and then you were tied to that computer. So all the data was somewhere else. It wasn't local at all. And that's the way it was many years ago. And we've come back full circle to that kind of a thought. But it makes it easier for large amounts of data to be stored, and the safety of it, and the fact that you can have a phone, you can have a computer, you can have a tablet, and you can have a Linux machine and a Mac machine and still access the same data at any time from all of them or each of them.
and if you're really concerned about off base saving, you have to be concerned about how does the data get from you to wherever it's going to be stored. If you don't encrypt it en route, somebody along the line, including your internet service provider, has access to that data. So encryption needs to start before it leaves your premises, if you are that concerned about your data.
Yes, I always use client-side encryption.
And how do you do that, Drew? Do you have special programs that do that?
I have two particular programs that I use, both of which are open source. One of them is called Cryptomator, and it's I think it's cryptomator.org. And that's a graphical user interface program that works across Windows, Linux, and I think the Mac. And it also runs on, I know it runs on my Android phone as well. And I give it a user ID and a password, and I create what's called a vault. And I control the ID and password to that vault and where those files are. So when I unlock it, just like when you boot up your computer, you log into pCloud and you have drive P, and that's all your pCloud files. I have the same drive letter on mine, only I have an additional drive letter called Q that is the unencrypted version of my files. If I go to drive P, everything is gobbledygook. And drive Q has everything unencrypted, where I've put in my user ID and password. Another open source program that I like to use, in particular in the Linux world, is a program called rclone. The letter R and then CLONE. And it also does client-side encryption. And you can map a drive letter to your cloud provider, whether it be Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive. What I do is I map a drive letter to Google, and it automatically encrypts the data before it transmits it to Google. So Google sees a file there, but they don't know what the file is. They back it up and they replicate it and all that, but only I can see the file. rclone is open source as well. It works on Windows, Linux, and Mac. The only thing it doesn't do is portable devices like phones. So anything you encrypt, you can only see on your computer. Whereas with Cryptomator, you can use it on mobile devices as well as your computers.
It's not cryptometer.org, it's cryptometer.io.
It's not IO.
It's not, so that's not the right one.
No.
Huh.
Let me go there and see.
The Cryptometer IO that you were talking about, check for
Yeah.
Bitcoin, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's cryptomator.org. I'll put it in the chat. And it's specifically intended and designed for locking up your cloud data storage.
Okay, I'm not yet do that, because the one I find when I went to cryptometer.org is Bitcoin, Namecoin. It's a whole bunch of individual currency charts.
Yeah, go check out the chat now. I just put it in there. Cryptomator.
Gotcha. That's why.
And it's for securing your cloud storage, and it works with any cloud provider. I use it on Microsoft, I use it on Google, and I use it on pCloud to encrypt all my data.
Okay, those are good things to know. And on that note, I'm going to say this has been the Central Florida Computer Society and Sarasota Technology User Group, WinSIG, for Sunday, August 13th, 2023. We've had a great session. Stay tuned to the main CFCS meeting with two really good sessions, one by Ron Brown and the other by Huey Poplock. So till next month, this has been the WinSIG or Windows Special Interest Group. Thanks for joining.